So today we're going to talk about Maryland. There's a ton of good opportunities in Maryland taking place right now. We're going to look at the Frederick County sale and maybe look at a couple of others. There's quite a few good auctions taking place. But to start, let's talk a little bit about Maryland. Maryland is classified as a tax lien state, and it's going to be the county tax collector that's in charge of handling the tax sale. Now, they use what's called a premium bid system, which essentially means that they're going to bid up the price of the tax lien. So if it starts at $1,000, then the next bidder will bid 1,001 and 1,002 and 1,003 up until they get to the high bid amount. So that's how they determine what the interest rate is by how much you bid above the opening bid amount. It's a little bit confusing, but one thing that's nice about some of these online auction services is they can kind of help calculate that for you. The interest rate is a little bit different. It can vary depending on county. So it's been as low as 6% in the past and as high as 24%. But on average, most counties accept or their maximum rate of return is about 18%.
Yeah, so let's go and check out some of the sales here. And they are one of the states that has deals with real auction, and so we can use their service here. And you see some of the other states that have services here. And here we have Maryland right here, and here is Frederick. So we can see that this sale, this tax lien auction just opened up on the 1st of April. When you see some of these others that this one opened up on the 20th of April here. This one opens up on May 1st, May 4th. So there's a lot of sales here that are happening. Let's go into Frederick.
Yeah, one thing to mention is the redemption period is a little bit different in Maryland than within other states. So in most states it's set by state law, but in Maryland they really don't have an actual full set redemption period, but you need to start the foreclosure process within 2 years. So I guess in some ways you could say it's 2 years. Otherwise, the money that you invested into that tax lien is then void. So because of that, we're kind of looking at a 2-year redemption period. You need to foreclose by then, but you can start foreclosing as soon as 6 months. So for those that are looking to try to acquire property, you start that foreclosure process. Well, you're either going to be able to acquire the property or get your money back within a year. So it does kind of help you if you're trying to get a return back within a year period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're looking at all of these liens here. There's a total of 761 liens that are available. In fact, let me make this a little bit larger here so that you can see it better. Okay. And now we can organize this list if we want based on the lien amount if we want, or we can have it go according to sequence number is how they have it set up, in terms of how the sale is ordered right now. But we can change this up though if we want to look at properties using any other any other metric. In fact, we're looking at if we're going from high to low, we could see the most expensive ones here, and the other way around here. We're just going to go down from the sequence number here. There we go.
Let's go ahead and try looking at that $16,000 one. I found that one kind of an interesting property. It looks like it's some type of big commercial property.
All right, let's see what it tells us here. So we've got a site address on it is right here. So I'm going to copy that here as we're looking at it. And some of the other things it tells us here. So it's sitting on 5.74 acres. It is commercial. And
it's 10,000 square feet.
That's big. You can see the value down here, like 1.1 million, 1.5 million.
Yeah, and we get into the county records a little bit more to find out some more detail, but all of these are kind of sending us to the state of Maryland details, which at least can give us enough to look into it more.
Oh wow, let's see, what is this? Historic Arcadia House. Oh, look at that. There's some images there for us it might be better than our street side images.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. I just kind of looked at it briefly, I didn't get a chance to look into it, but it definitely looks like some type of big home.
And let me just back up there so I can, backed up too far. Let's plug that in again. All right, now we can go look at our street side image here. So this is an image from November of 2024. And you can see that, it is sitting on that larger 5-acre lot, but it's a beautiful property. I mean, was it ever a home, I wonder?
I think it must be an old home, but we could look into it, the history a little bit more, but that's what I figured it must be. It may not be being used as a home now, especially being done commercial, but
Yeah, it's interesting here. Oh, that's like an exit, so there must be an entry down here. I'm assuming there is.
maybe the exit and the entrance are the same.
But yeah, maybe they are the same. I only see one road kind of going in and out, but yeah, it's a beautiful house. I wonder if it shows up. Does it even show a value?
I didn't get that far.
I don't know if it will because it's kind of commercial. Oh, it does. 1.36 million.
Go down and look at the let's see, 1780.
Oh, I
That's
see. Yeah, I thought that was wrong when it said the date there. I didn't think that was an actual year built. That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm sure that has all kinds of history to it.
yeah, I saw that 1780 right here. And I thought what is that number? Yeah,
Look up the address. Do a Google search on the address real quick. I'm now
that's the
seeing how
oldest
old it is.
property. That's the oldest property I've ever seen.
Yeah, the oldest tax sale property I think I've ever seen too, and it's massive.
Oh yeah, let me just Google it here.
Just kind of interested to see.
The Arcadia house here. So yeah, here we go. There's a wiki on it. So historic house located between Frederick and Buckystown, Maryland, erected in about 1790, 1780 specifically. The house overlooks the Montesee National Battleground. The house was extensively altered in the late 19th century and now possesses an elaborate balcony tower. The interior was also extensively updated at that time. The house played a role in the Civil War when in the days prior to the Battle of Antietam, Confederate Colonel William Pendleton stayed at Arcadia. It later became General George Meade's headquarters in the time leading up to the Battle of Gettysburg. During the Battle of Montesee, General Jubal Early formed his troops in Arcadia. That's an interesting property with a lot of history to it.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting. You can see all kinds of properties come up to the tax, so you can see it's on the National Registry of Historic Places.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and for the amount, so $16,000 is, it's a lot of money, but it's, a little over 1% of the property's estimated value. So the lien itself is still highly secure, and no real problems for it. That's actually a great lien.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Well, and chances are it's going to get paid back. They're not going to lose that property in 6 months for $16,000. So if we're looking at an interest rate return, we can start foreclosing, and you can kind of, with Maryland, what it does is it gives you the flexibility to decide, am I going to start the foreclosure rate after 6 months, or would I like to wait a year, gain some more interest, and then go ahead and foreclose if they haven't paid it within the year?
Yeah, so in that way, it does kind of give you control, or it's the only state I know of that kind of gives you that degree of control over how much interest you'd be owed, because you generally can't choose when it stops, when the property redeems. But in this case, you kind of can decide that by when you start to foreclose.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, you probably could use it as an Airbnb, a museum. I would turn that thing into my house. It's probably haunted though. It's probably really haunted.
Yeah, probably is. I wouldn't be surprised if it is being used as something like that, or was being used. Maybe not, but I'd be surprised if somebody's still living in it, because they've even zoned it now as a commercial property.
What's crazy now is if it is haunted, you could do tours there for hauntings, because that's just as big of a thing now as anything else.
Yeah, you could hold haunting tours in the evenings and have weddings in the daytime.
That would be hilarious. Yeah, there's probably some nice properties in this sale, at least when we start to find numbers that look good. So if the tax lien is 1% of the property's value, a lot of times the other properties we're going to look at are going to have pretty good numbers too. You would look at a specific one, just pulling up?
Yeah, just pull up any of them.
All right, let's see here. $6,000. Let's see what this one is. Yep, yeah, this is Frederick County. And let's see what we're looking at here. This one's also a house. So $5,000, $6,000 one I think I looked at here. We can see it's built in 1995. It's 2,100 square feet, sitting on 3.3 acres. This one is owner occupied. We can see the premise and the mailing address are the same. If I can make that any bigger. So I can copy that. But yeah, 3.3 acres here. Let's just pull it up real quick and see what it is. And,
yeah, it's a newer build.
oh, you can see the value on it. They've got it set at like 513,000. That's cool. Michael actually lives out in this area too.
Oh,
Yeah,
awesome.
this is Fredericks County, and we're looking. We went in from real auction, but yeah, this is Frederick County, Maryland, and yeah, there are a lot of Maryland sales that are happening. If you have interest there, they've got lots and lots of tax lien sales that start here. All right, let's pull up and see what this house is real quick.
We've actually had students that have acquired property through Maryland tax liens before.
Oh, that's cool. So yes, now you know what, this property we may be able to get a street side image here. If we pull it up on Zillow or Redfin, let's see if it's ever been listed before. No close image here.
You know, sometimes you can go down and click on the road, and because it's off the street, they may not include it. Sometimes I'll go down to the road and see if you can see anything there. Yeah, maybe you probably have to look up the lane, but I think that's the lane.
Let's see, is that the right lane here? Yeah. Okay, so I think it's not the second one, right? Or is it that one?
I'd have to look back. It's further off the street. I know that. I think it's up that lane.
It's just not quite the right angle to be able to see. Maybe that's it right there. That's the house.
Yeah, I think that is it.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's on 3.2 acres, so this one's sitting on some acres. It looks like it has a pasture or something, you know, right next to it. You can see some farming stuff there, along with trucks there. Kind of a farmhouse.
Yeah, built in 1995. You know, valued at probably around 600 grand. Your money's going to be obviously protected on an investment like that.
Yeah, highly secure. I mean, again, it's interesting too how it's about the same percentage, like 1% of value is about what this property is. I think we're looking at a $6,000 lien, and it's valued at about 600,000. You know, which is exactly what you want for, you know, for good liens. I'll bet all of these are going to end up having pretty good numbers. At 1,800, what are we looking at? It's also a house. You know, built in 1880. On about 1 acre of land. So an $1,800 one, let's see. It's not owner occupied either.
It's an older home.
Oh yeah, look at that.
It's old farmhouse. Oh wait, that's newer looking. That's it.
Yeah, that's got to be it, right?
Yeah, 1880. Those other ones were way newer.
Yeah. This should tell us there, 324. They're not exactly pointing to it, but I think we're looking at the right one. And we could pull up, what we'd probably do here is we would pull up the GIS, you know, to be certain of it. We've got to have the GIS somewhere close to here.
I think you've got to go to the county. This is through the department. See how it's through the Maryland.gov. So this is just kind of the state assessment on all of them.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, we would need to pull up Frederick County and do a search there to pull up their actual GIS. but it's pretty good for a record that's just like a state record, not from the county directly. This is actually pretty good.
Yeah, give you an idea if you're gonna look more into it, and then we could go ahead and check some of the county tools
Well,
that are available.
this one's only $1,800 lien, and this one is valued at $317. So this one actually is lower than 1%. Like, yeah, this is a $300,000 property. This one's closer to 0.5% of value, and so you can't find liens, that are more secure and that offer better, overall better security than these liens. Maryland also has a pretty high interest rate return that they offer. At least the maximum rate of return in Maryland on liens is pretty good.
Yeah, well, and a majority of them are at 18%.
Yeah,
that's kind of the more standard. We've seen them, as I mentioned, go as low as 6%. There's been counties that have done 24%, but usually you're looking at an average most of the time about 18.
and 18 is excellent. I mean, 18 was enough to drive investors, institutional investors, even to Florida, and they would even pay down. They'd bid down that interest rate pretty low. So to be able to get an 18% rate of return on liens is excellent. That's a great rate of return to earn on these.
Yeah, well, and it gives you some flexibility to do a premium bid on it and still gain or earn a high interest rate return. So, you build up by that, pay $10 or $15 over a tax lien, that ends up being a small percentage of what the actual amount is. In fact, one thing that was interesting is, and when I was reading the tax lien rules in Baltimore, it said that they weren't collecting the overbid amount up front. Now I have to read more
Oh,
into it. It's right
that must
before
mean they only collected when you foreclose.
I did it just had that at the very top, and I didn't get a chance. It was right before the webinar for the podcast, so I didn't get a chance to look more into it to see exactly what it was. But they did have that note in there that I said I'm gonna have to look more into that, because if they don't charge it unless you foreclose, that kind of changes the situation to a degree.
Yeah, look at this one. This one, I think this one is a turd. So this is the most expensive one. It's a $68,000 lien, on the list, and looking at it, the value is like $43,000 in land. That's all it is.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it does not. And
Unless the market value is somehow way higher, but that's not what I was expecting. I was expecting a big, huge.
no, this is land. Yeah, this is totally land. And it's listed off of Oak Ridge Place, which looks like they've got right there. So it's got to be off of this right here. Here's Oak Ridge Place. It's got to be some vacant lot or something that's right here. It looks like there used to be a house on it, maybe. No, maybe not. It's only 7,000 square feet, so it's a tiny lot at that. It's not even a very big lot.
Yeah, it's some type of junk. Probably wouldn't even reach, especially with that opening bid amount. I mean, if the opening bid amount was 500, then it could be worth looking into more. But with
Yeah.
that kind of opening bid, that's ridiculous.
What in the world? Let's see what one of these other big ones is for here. So 55,000. See if they're all junk here. Weird, they popped up so fast before. I wonder what happened.
I was having problems the other night when I was trying to look at some to get ready for this, and I wasn't able to look any up.
Huh, yeah, for whatever reason, they stopped pulling up here for me. Maybe their system crashed. But at least we know that some of the liens here, there are liens you'd have to watch out for. So you definitely want to, check on each one of these liens. And obviously, if you're going to invest a larger amount like these, I'm sure you would check on them. But it is interesting to see that some of these liens, especially the big ones, are not good. What's interesting is the other liens are about as good as they get. You can't find that many liens, that are going to be 0.5% of value. That's hardly anything at all compared to property values. And so, yeah, it's interesting that there's a mix like this on the list where we have some excellent deals, and then we have some toxic liens as well.
Yeah, go ahead and go back to real auction real quick.
Oh, there we go. It's $3 million. So it does have a lot of value. This one's an office building. It's a like 25,000 square feet office building. It's huge.
Yeah, it's massive.
Here, we'll just look at it real quick before we go. So this is like a $45,000 or $50,000 lien. And I think it's on that building. Lower level is what it says. That's weird. That's nice though.
Yeah. I think the lower level is just, I don't think that has anything to do with the property.
Yeah, I doubt it. It's probably the whole thing there. But look at that. I mean, it is in downtown Frederick here. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're
Anyways,
definitely interesting. And there's a ton of auctions coming up this month. So, we just picked out one of the counties randomly. You can see all the different counties that are opening up this month, starting over the next 2 weeks. So if you're interested in Maryland tax liens, it's definitely a good time to get registered because the majority of the auctions are going to happen over the next 30 days.
yeah, lots and lots of them there to check out. So it's worth taking some time, especially if you're familiar with Maryland. That can also be a reason to look into certain areas here. I mean, Steve and I don't really know Maryland that well, and so we're going into it new here. But for some of you that have lived out there, you probably know some of these areas.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and with so many different tax lien auctions taking place right now, in fact, we were in the webinar with our members going over tax liens and talking about the different auction websites that were out there, the different providers. And coming up in the next 30 days, you've got Iowa, you've got Alabama, you've got Florida, you've got Maryland, you've got New Jersey, and there's a couple of other states I can't think of right now as well that all having their tax lien auctions right now. So it's definitely a good time to get registered on some of these auctions and try bidding in some of the tax lien certificate sales.